Okay, let's move ahead in a course and start learning about locator. Locators are really important in Selenium, so you should always have a very strong grip on locators. In fact, all type of locators. We have seen different types of locator in the previous video. Let's start learning about each type, and let's start with the simplest and yet the most important type of locator, that is ID locator. So if you will inspect this sourcedemo.com and if you will hover over to this username input box, then you can see that it consists of lot of attribute. It has a class attribute, it has a placeholder attribute, right? But we are looking for a specific type of attribute called ID attribute. We can use this ID attribute to identify this username input box. How we can do that? Let's head over to a code editor and see the same. Okay, to search an element on a web page, we have a method called find element method. So I will write this method. With the help of this method, we can search for any element we want to. But the condition here is that you have to tell the find element method that using which type of locator you want to search an element. We have 8 different types of locator. It means that this find element method can search for an element in 8 different ways. So we have to tell this find element method that using which method you will search for an element, using which type of locator you will look for an element on a web page. So to do that, we have a class called by class. This by class helps us to tell the WebDriver that, okay, whenever you are searching for something, use this locator. Let's see how we can do that. I will just simply create a by element object. I will name it as element locator. And we are studying about ID locator. So let's see how we can specify that. Okay. So to define this search criteria, what we do is we simply use by.id method. And here we pass the ID attribute value. In our case, the ID attribute value is username. So I will simply use this username value here. So I have passed this username as an argument to this ID method, and this element locator, we need to pass it in this find element method. So now we have defined the method using which the find element method will search for an element in our web page. It will search using an ID locator and it will look for an ID with username value. Now let's see this thing in action. Is this thing working or not? So if I will run this code, then it opens sourcedemo.com and it exit with a code 0. It means that the code worked fine, but we cannot see anything, right? So let's do one thing. If you will enter, like click this login button without entering any username and password, then we should get this error, right? So let's inspect this login button. It has an ID called login button. So I will copy this ID and I will paste it here. Now I have defined my search criteria that, okay, whenever the driver will search using element locator, it will look for an ID called login button. And after searching it, I want to click that button. So I will simply say click. This click method will click the element that we have searched. So let's run the code and we should get the error on our screen as well. See, we got these errors, right? It means that we were successfully able to identify this login button using ID locator. So I will repeat this thing again, that if you have to search an element using locators, then you will use find element method. And this find element method actually need to be told that which type of locator you want to use in order to search an element. And this part, this line number 16, we call this as defining the search criteria. You are defining the rules and regulation to search, right? So we have defined a search criteria, and using that search criteria, our find element method is searching for that element. After searching the element, it will just simply click that element. So this is how you can use ID locator to uniquely identify an element and perform action on it.